Hi everyone, it's Di here with Di's Den, and today is day 4 of Table Favour week. We only have one more project for this week after this one, but today's project is called a lidded milk carton. So the lid comes off. This one's a bit squashed, it's been sitting in here for a little while, but it will hold one of these marshmallow Santas. It holds it really nicely. So the box measures, let me put the lid on this, and you can make it smaller if you want to push it down even more. So this measures, let's get my trusty tape, 2 inches square, roughly 2 inches square, that is. Yep. So that's our card, our little treat box for today. And there's no stamping on this one. So this one I just had a Christmas tree, and I've just put a few bits on like this. This is all retired products. Today we're going to do it with non-retired products mostly. So I'll just show you what you're going to need. Oops. You're going to need just some gems, and I've got these gilded gems. These are from last season, so that's okay. I have a little bit of ribbon. I haven't taken it off the thing, and this is not even stamping up ribbon. It's just some ribbon I had in my stash that was part of my mum's stuff. So, but it goes really lovely with real red. Look at that. They go together beautifully. And so we need some double-sided tape, and for what I'm doing today, I've used a 2-inch circle punch. So if you don't have a 2-inch circle punch, you could always use a circle die or anything like that, or a different size if you don't want to put anything quite as big on. So, and I also have my crocodile here, which I'm going to use to make my holes in the top of my box, which are only there for decoration because the box lid comes off. So that's what we're going to be using. So let's pop them out of the way. And as I say, I have these Cadbury marshmallow Santas. So there we go. So this is all we're going to need. Look at that. Have that. So the paper that I'm using is called, I don't know what it's called, and I've got a bit of a squashed edge on that one. It's called North Pole Delivery, this paper, and it has these ephemeras with it. It has 2 sheets of ephemeras. Let me show. I'm not going to pull them out and show you. There's houses, there's animals, there's postage stamps, poles, mailboxes, and we are going to use this one that looks like a little, what do you call that? I can't think what that's called. A post vehicle van. So the paper is quite busy. I think it's a bit busy, but it's different for a change. So we could have used that one, but I've already cut into that sheet and it was the wrong way. So, but this has got animals on the other side. This one's got lots of different trucks on it, and then postage stamps on the other side. Postage stamps on that one, which is the one with the paper that's opposite way. This is the one we're using, so that's got checkers on the back. This one here has houses or shops on the front and post boxes on the back. And this one has more animals on it, some bears and badgers and owls, and it's plain on the back, which is great because you can use that all the time of the year. So that's the paper we're using today, and let me pop that out of the way, over there. This is all you're going to need. So I've already chomped my 2-inch circle. I have my ephemera to go on there, so that can just sit like that. You could stamp on there if you wanted to, but I just didn't think it was necessary. So for my milk carton base, you're going to need a piece that measures 6 15/16 by 6 15/16. Now that means that this is just one smidgen off a 7. So whatever that is in centimetres is 17.6½ or something like that. So that's really good. And then this piece here measures 8½ inches by 4 inches. Now you could make this taller if you wanted to make the box taller because you have something bigger in there, you just make the height bigger. But this is what we're going to be using. So let me pop them out of the way. Let me pop that over there. And we'll bring in our scoreboard. And where is my scoring tool? Oh no. Oh, it's on the floor. Just hang on, I'll pop this up here and I'll go and get my tool. It's fallen out of the bottom. Okay. About that. So we're going to bring in our main piece of card here, and we're going to score on all 4 sides at 2.5 inches. So 2.5, turn it, 2.5, turn it, 2.5, and turn it once more, 2.5. So that's all the scoring on there. So our little one in the middle is just a bit smaller than the 2 inches, so that would be, or just 2-inch squares in the middle. Okay, so we've done all that scoring, so we're going to pop that piece out of the way for a minute, pop that there, and we are going to score this piece, the lid piece, on the long side. Now we're going to use the thick ball for the long side for the lid, because this is designer series paper, and we're going to score this at 2 inches, 4 inches, whoops, 6 inches and 8 inches. And then we're going to turn it and score it at 2.5 inches. Now we want to make sure, well, if we've got a design like mine that is a landscape design, that we put it on the left hand side, or the side that's going to have the longest 2-inch, I think it's 2 inches, yes, the 2-inch score line on it. Okay, so we want, this is halfway, that part is okay, but the next score line is at 3.5 inches. So you want that to be at the top. So if you've got a paper like me that has directional on it, you need that 3.5-inch score line to be at the top. So that's all the scoring we're going to do. So let's pop that away, and we'll start by making the main box. So we're going to bring in the main box again, and I'm going to fold and burnish all these score lines only because it's so much easier to do things once they're all done, especially on smaller things. So there we go. So once we've done that, what we're going to do next is we're going to bring in our scissors, and we're going to cut down to that, from this corner score line on this square piece, just down to there, and then we're going to actually turn it, and we're going to cut down to that one, and turn it and cut down to that one, turn it and cut down to that one. Now you could put this in the trimmer and trim this in half, but it doesn't really matter because these sections are going to be on the inside. Now that's going to be too wide. If you look at that, that is way too wide. There's the score line there. So we want to cut off about half of this. So we're going to cut that in half. And we're going to do that on all 4 sides as well. And because they're going to be tucked inside, we don't really need to worry if they're a little bit more or a little bit less. We're then going to wedge all of these at both ends, or notch. So we're going to go all the way around again. As you can see, that I didn't cut that very, very straight, but that's okay. I might chop that little bit extra off there. There we go. Turn, notch that one, and that side, and turn once more and notch those two off like that. So our piece of card now looks like this. Let me pop them in the bin. So it looks like this. It looks like a bit like a windmill, doesn't it? So we're then going to bring all of these sides up and bring them up nice and neatly so that they are going to be onto the sides there. Now, I didn't check my glue before I started today. Well, that wasn't very clever of me, was it? So let me just get the nut off of that. Let's hope it's going to come out. So we're going to start at one side and it's not going to come out. So I'm going to have to give it a press here. Give it a shake down. It's getting a bit low. I think that's the trouble. I'm going to pop that down. I'm going to lay that down for a minute and bring that around and line up so we get a nice square corner here. And because we've only got one on each side, we're not going to be seeing them. We're going around in a circle or a square, whichever way you want to say it. And we're going to do the next one. I'm going to bring that one up and make that a nice square corner. Next one. We're going to bring that one in because we want to be able to get it in there. Bring that up nice and square too. And then we can pop that one down. And then with the last one, which is a tiny little bit harder, it's easier just to pull that flap. I don't know if you can see this flap here. You can just pull it back so that you can get your glue down into there. Now you could glue them all beforehand, but I find doing that, I get glue everywhere. That's just me, but okay, so that's the base of our box. Now, how easy was that? So we have our box, and it's just sitting there lovely. It's all nice and even around the top, and that's all of our box done. So let me pop the pin in my glue and thing out of the way, and we're going to bring in our other piece of card. So this one, what we're going to do is, we've got this 1/2 inch score line, and we're going to fold that along that score line as a valley fold. We're going to give that just a light burnish, not a hard one. The next score line, the halfway mark, we're going to fold that as a mountain fold. And then we're going to go round, and it's really hard, so just be very careful that you watch where your score lines are, and you're going to fold and burnish all of those score lines, making sure you keep everything nice and straight on the sides. And you've got this little tab end at this end here. Okay, so once we've done that, what we're going to do is we're going to actually glue this together. So I'm actually going to just notch the bottom and the top of that, just so that it doesn't peek out at all. Let's move those out of the way, and we're then going to glue that together along that score line. Now you could use double-sided tape here if you wanted to, but I prefer wet glue because it gives me that wiggle room. So once you've done that, just bring that over, making sure you line up these score lines nicely. We can pop that down like so. Okay, so once we've done that, we can then press this in like so, and you've got your shape. Look at that. So to make this easier, what I did is I actually put a little bit of double-sided tape along that piece there. So I only just wherever it is, brought the end, and I just broke a bit off and get it off my finger. Pop that along that line there. It just helps to bring it together. Now it doesn't have to be the full length, and then you've done that one, and then you want to do the opposite side the same. Oops, come on, get off my finger. Once you've done that, can pop them on there like so. Between that score line, there's a little bit too much there. Let me get that off my finger. Get off my finger, come on. Right, and then we can pop the tape release top off on that one and that one, and then once we press them together once more, bringing them together at that top piece, just squishing them down, they stay together nicely then, and that will fit on there just perfectly. See, let me get this on here. It is a tight fit, but it's not ridiculous. There we go. So it can come down that low if you've only got something small to go in there. So let's pop that in the rubbish bin. Let's pull that up a little bit. And well, let's actually pull that off. It'll be easier than trying to do it with that. I'm going to bring in my crocodile. Now, you can use any kind of punch you like. I'm going to use the smaller end because I've only got light tape. Ribbon. There we go. So I'm looking for the join because I want my join to be at the back. So I'll bring this back in. And I'm giving that a squash again, and I'm going to bring my ribbon in, oops, and pop that through the holes. Well, I will if it goes through. Go through, and out the other side. So making sure that you've got that in there nicely, you can make a nice bow on the top here. And if you're like me, you can't make bows to save your life. I couldn't make a bow to save my life, I must admit. So that's the end of that bit. So we've got our bit there. We can pop our sweet in there. As I say, these are quite big. These measure, they're quite huge actually. These measure approximately, let's squish the top down, approximately 4 inches in length. So that's how long you can put in there. Pop in our sweet, pop on our lid. Like so, and as I say, he's not going down real low, so that's what's really good. So we're going to pop this on here. I'm going to glue it flat because I don't see the point in making it too bulky. And just popping that on there. I could have done the one with the Christmas tree on it, but I didn't think of that. And I'm going to bring in my little gems here. It's easier to do this before you put it on the box. I'll just use these small ones because of the size of this. This is one of those lovely little projects that you can use up your scraps for. Now I'm going to pop this up on a few dimensionals. Again, I wouldn't use a lot because of the fact that it's only going on the Christmas table, so it'd probably get thrown away at the end of the day with most people. So we'll pop our little Christmas thing on the front like that, and there we have it, our little Christmas lidded milk carton. Let me put the pin in my glue, bring in the other one. So these are the two that I've made, and that one's sitting a little bit higher than that one. Oh, there we go, we brought it down. So it looks absolutely gorgeous. It's so easy to make. And if you've enjoyed today's little table favour and you'd like to know more about it, you can head down below and you can find Die Stamp for Stamping, Crafting and Tutorials. That's my Facebook group there. You can download the tutorial for this. It is free, but you do have to be a member of the group to to do that. You do need to answer the question if you're not a member so that you can join the group. And if you'd like to know more about these, just contact me. If you've enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up. I do enjoy, you know, hearing from you all. Leave me a comment. It does all help. And don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss out on any of the new projects that are coming up. And I will see you again tomorrow with the last table favour for 2025. So if you've enjoyed this, I'm happy, and I will see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.